morning and welcome to Casas. Whether you're joining us for the very first time or this place has felt like home for a long time, we're really glad you're here. If you're new, we'd love to connect with you. You can text GUEST to the number on your screen. If you're feeling curious, unsure, or just wondering what your next step might be, we would love to meet you. After service, stop by Next Steps. There's no pressure, just people who want to help you find connection, purpose, and a place to belong. Over the next few weeks, you're going to hear us talk about ways to step more fully into the life of our church. Not because we're trying to fill positions or recruit volunteers, but because we believe every person has a place in the story God is writing here. So consider this question. What might it look like for me to take another step into what God is doing through Casas? We're glad you're here. Let's worship together. Good morning, everyone. It's been good. Why don't you stand? We're going to worship. is forever yours. 1,000 hallelujahs, 1,000 more.
Good morning. Welcome, welcome. We are so glad that you're here today. So how about you take a moment and greet somebody right next to you. Tell them your name. Invite them to coffee. Maybe invite them to your small group. Good morning.
Well, we're really glad that you're here. Welcome. And today, if today is your first day, I just really want to say we're really glad that you're here. And I know you might hear that everywhere, but I genuinely want to tell you that we are so glad that you chose to spend your morning with us. We know that that can be a little scary sometimes. It's a big place, and we really just want this to be a place where you feel loved, where you feel accepted exactly as you are, and where you feel like maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to what God has for me here. As you walked in, hopefully you received a welcome bag, and in that bag is a welcome card. So there's also cards in the back of the seats in front of you. And if and when you feel ready, we would love to get to know you a little bit more. We'd love to just see what your experience was like and know that you were here and that you're not alone, that you're seen and that you're loved and that you matter to us and it matters that you were here. And when you're done with that, you are welcome to put those in the boxes at the back of the room. Or if you'd like to say hi to a face, you can come over to our Next Steps area.
And we love the Next Steps area. It's where a lot of our pastors will hang out. We've got some people there that can connect you in. There is just this great sense of belonging here at the church. And this is one next step to be able to belong here.
Over the next 3 weeks, you're going to hear us talk a lot about the opportunities that we have to get more involved in Casas. And so this is something where we are asking for your help, because we do have a lot of need for volunteers, but it's really so much more than that. We believe that you all have a specific story, a unique story. And we are here, we love people, but what really makes a huge difference is you stepping into that. So I'm the guest services director here at Casas, and so I get the privilege and the honor of serving with some amazing volunteers who you probably met as you walked in at our front porch, in our lobby, at our coffee spot. And so we get to just love on people in that way. And so we really would love to continue that and invite you to find out, what about your story?
I love that we have great volunteers around here. And as the pastor of outreach, my name is Jennifer. I love when we have people that step out of their comfort zone to really, really affect other people here. And we have somebody who is really unique, who actually volunteered in both of our areas. Will you please invite out Tim?
Hi, Tim.
Good morning.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Tim is my honorary papa. I just want you to know.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning.
So Tim, as part of guest services, your specific role is as one of our greeters at the doors. So you greet people as they walk in, but you're making a moment of connection. And so I'd really love to know for you, what was your reason for wanting to get involved?
So, to back up, about 11 years ago, my wife and I came to this church, and we were looking for a church home. And when we came through the doors here, we felt welcome, we felt loved. And through that, it just became a comfort zone for us. But after a while, we talked about it, and we decided, we want to build a relationship with the church and with people coming to this church. And we wanted to meet people at the doors that were just like us, that came and weren't sure where they were coming to, but we felt welcome. We wanted to give back to everybody in the church by doing the same thing, by making people feel welcome here when they come through those doors. And so at that point, we both decided we were going to join guest services as greeters. And I know most of you here in first service know me. I usually wear a cowboy hat, but I didn't want to wear that on stage today. It wasn't appropriate. So, but anyways, that's how we wanted to get back to the church, and that's, I hope that we're doing that by making everybody feel welcomed, accepted, and loved here.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And you and your lovely wife, Christine, volunteered together. How is volunteering or just stepping into the story of your story, how has that impacted you?
Well, it gives me joy and a warm feeling in my heart to know that people coming here that may be struggling with something, if I can put a smile on their face, it just overwhelms my heart, and it's just an overwhelming feeling of joy to know that I've done something good for somebody.
Thank you for sharing that.
I love that you also have volunteered and outreach, and there are many different groups that you've been in and outreach. So outreach is this wonderful opportunity for our church to get out and volunteer. We have groups that meet every week. We have about 9 different outreach groups, and these groups go out and do things like feed people who are experiencing homelessness, or they go out and they help with vets, or they go out and deliver beds for people who are coming out of the foster care system. There's so many different groups that are doing wonderful things out there, and you decided to join a couple of them. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so I've joined Helping Hands. I'm on the delivery team where we actually go out and we deliver beds and bedding and other household items to families who are less fortunate that are maybe struggling with finances, that really don't have the things that they need. We go out and sometimes we even go out and build beds for families. So that was one of the outreach programs that I got involved with, and that is really a overwhelming joy when you see people getting something that they don't have. So, it's just one of many ways that I felt giving back to the community, that is a rewarding experience all in itself.
And that's wonderful. Would you say that you just built this great connection and belonging, a sense of belonging through both outreach and through guest services?
Yeah, I have. I really, felt like being in both sides of the community here at the church, between outreach and guest services, that, it just keeps building and building, and, it seems like there's never an end to, the limit that we can reach. Excuse me.
And Tim, you actually helped create a vets group as well that goes out into the community. Yes,
so I created a vets group that we meet on Tuesday, the second and fourth Tuesday of each month. So if there's any veterans in here that are interested, you can see me afterwards, and I can get you signed up for that. It's just basically, it's not a Bible study group, but it's just mainly sitting around and talking about veteran struggles and how we can work through those issues to help each other out. Out of that group, we have another group that Jennifer and I are working on together to go out to the community, and that's called Vets for Christ. And what we do is we take veterans out of our Vets for Vets group, and we go out to Davis Mountain, to the base, and meet with the pastors out there and veterans out there. And then we also are planning on going to the VA and talking to the vets out there in the VA that, can't get out of the VA hospital and things like that. We can maybe brighten up their day and do activities with them.
That is so wonderful. Can we give Tim just a round of applause? Thank you.
Thank you.
As you can see from Tim, he's a bit of a unicorn. He volunteers kind of everywhere. So if you see him around, just say hey, because he's probably opening our doors, and I'm going to give him my office tomorrow. So as we talk about volunteering, we would love for this to be something that brings you joy, something where you can find a place, maybe meet some other people. It's a great place to build community. So if you're interested in just learning more, you can use that tap dot in front of you. So what you do is you open your phone and then you place it right on that dot, and it might take a sec, but it'll bring up a very, very short form. And so there's actually a reason behind that. We kept it short on purpose because our heart is not that you just come in and fill a spot, but that we can build community with you and help you figure out, where's the best place that is a good fit for you. We are also going to be in our meetup right over here after service, and we would love to talk to you more, get to know you, find out what your heart is, and see what might be a good place for you.
We love that people can start from just sitting here to being able to build that community and belonging. It's just an amazing thing. And when you give here at Casas Church, you are funding all of the wonderful things that are happening, like our high schoolers in the camp they just went to, for people who are going out and actually feeding people who are experiencing homelessness. You're funding a lot of the programs that are actually just helping our church show the love of Jesus out into our community.
So if that's something that you feel led to participate in, there's a few ways you can do that. Again, that top dot is going to have all the information for you. But if you would like to do that with a physical gift, you're welcome to do that in the giving boxes in the back of the room.
Can you pray with me? Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you that we get to be here, that we get to be a community who loves our greater Tucson community, that we get to worship you freely, that we get to just step into this service and leave all the cares of the world just out there and just join with you today, Lord. Lord, I pray that the rest of this worship would just be a sweet, sweet sound in your ears. We love you so much. In your beautiful name, amen.
Well, we're going to continue in worship. If you guys would all stand with us, and let's just continue to praise him, who he is, and what he's done in our lives.
He's the one who turned the water to wine. He's the one who gave back sight to the blind. He's the one, and only he can do it. He's the one, he's the author of life. He's the one who calls the dead things to rise. He's the one, and I've seen him do it. He never fails, he never will, he never stops making a way. I will sing of what the Lord can do. He's never changed, he never will, he never stops making a way. I will sing of what the Lord can do. Only he can do it. He's the one who rolled the stone from the grave. He's the one who put death in its place. He's the one, and he did it for me. He never fails, he never will, he never stops making a way. I will sing of what the Lord can do. He's never changed, he never will, he never stops making a way. I will sing of what the Lord can do. That's who he is, that's what he does. So keep calling his name. He did it then, he'll do it now. So keep lifting your faith. That's who he is, that's what he does. So keep calling his name. He did it then, he'll do it now. So keep lifting your faith. That's who he is, that's what he does. So keep calling his name. He did it then, he'll do it now. So keep lifting your faith. He never fails, he never will, be put to shame. Keep calling his name. Keep calling his name. Keep calling his name. Keep calling his name. Oh, keep calling his name. Keep calling his name. Jesus. Keep calling his name. That's who he is. That's what he does. So keep calling his name. He did it then, he'll do it now. So keep lifting your faith. That's who he is, that's what he does. So keep calling his name. He did it then, he'll do it now. He never fails, he never will. He never stops making a way. I will sing of what the Lord can do. He's never changed, he never will. He never stops making a way. I will sing of what the Lord can do.
God, we're just here to worship you this morning, to pour out our hearts before you in gratitude and thankfulness because of your love. Thank you. Let's sing this together. The more I see, the more I find to love, the more I know, the more I can't withhold my heart. I'm still amazed by who you are. Somehow it never gets old telling you you're holy. Somehow it never gets old telling you you're lovely. Somehow it never gets old telling you you're worthy. For as long as I live, I'll never get tired of giving you praise. With every day, another reason why. With every breath, another chance to give my heart. I'm still amazed by who you are. Somehow it never gets old. Oh, we look to you, God. Let's sing this one more time. What else can I say? What else can I say? I'm still amazed by you. What else can I say? I'm still amazed by you.
Who thought I'd find you in the lowest place? Who thought you'd feel me in the crowd? Who knew you'd make good of my mistakes? Nothing like I thought you were, you're better. What a God, what a God. What a God, what a God. What a God, what a God. Oh, what a God, what a God. Let's sing this out. I thought you'd show up for perfection. 'Cause what kind of God looks for the lost? They say it's over for the sinner. What will you say? No, it's not, no, it's not. You say, no, it's not, no, it's not. What a God, what a God. 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 Oh, you are. You found me. Oh, and you love me.
Let's sing this together. And if the highest place I reach is at your feet, then I've done it all. If the best thing that I've seen is your glory, then I've seen it all. Your love has changed my life, forever satisfied. God, you are my everything. If the highest place I reach is at your feet, then I've done it all. If the best thing that I've seen is your glory, then I've seen it all. Your love has changed my life, forever satisfied. God, you are my everything. And if one word is the only thing you speak, then I've heard it all. If I feel your heart but never see your hands, I still have it all. No treasure of this life could ever satisfy. You are my everything. You are. is your glory, then I've seen it all. Your love has changed my life, forever satisfied. God, you are my everything. And if one word is the only thing you speak, then I've heard it all. If I feel your heart and never see your hand, I still have it all. No treasure of this life could ever satisfy. God, you are my everything. God, how beautiful it is that we can look to you and that you can be our everything. And that if you are the one that we interact with, if you are the one that we engage with, God, that you're able to give us peace and hope and joy. Because you are such a great God. That's what we want you to hear this morning from us, God, is that we adore you, we praise you, we thank you. Thank you for being here with us in this place. Thank you that you are a God that longs to engage with every person in this room. We thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Stacy, and I'm one of the pastors here at Casas Church. I'm excited to get to hang out with you guys this morning. We are going to be wrapping up that series right there. That series where we've been talking about a book of the Bible called the Book of Judges. And so to kind of start out, I wanted to tell you guys about a moment. I was sharing it with some of the other pastors this morning. There was a moment when I was like in late high school, early college, and I found myself on a Saturday morning spending about 6 to 8 hours in one of those precious things called driving school. Yeah, driving school, because I'd gotten a ticket, and so I didn't want it to end up on my insurance. And this is like before, you could sit at home and do it on the computer or whatever. You got to have this really neat experience where you paid money and you went to driving school and you sat for like 6 or 8 hours with people relearning all the things of what it was to drive and listening to people ask questions, and it just felt like taking driver's ed all over again. And I found myself sitting in this class on a Saturday going, how did I get here? Like, how did Stacy end up paying for this class, sitting here, having these lessons, these cool interactions? How did I end up here? But the truth is, and this is what I had to talk to the guys about this morning, like, I 100% knew how I had ended up there. Like, I was sitting in this class, and I might have been, frustrated about my Saturday, but I definitely knew how I had ended up in this driving school class. Because, for instance, I'm someone who actually grew up in the Oro Valley area, which if you've grown up here, learned how to drive in this parking lot like many people, but also, OVPD likes to pass out their tickets. Like, there's a whole segment in my driver's ed class at school where the teacher tells us the favorite places that the cops like to hide. And so you better be careful and you better slow down on Naranha right here. Like, I grew up with these lessons. I grew up watching my parents drive around here and get pulled over and get tickets. But not only those lessons, so right before I found myself in driving school, I also found myself in about a 2-month window. I had gotten pulled over about 4 to 5 different times around Tucson. I know, and you're like, Stacy shouldn't drive. I'm just a little fast sometimes. And I found myself getting pulled over like 4 to 5 different times. And like, Don't admit it, but if you've ever gotten pulled over, you know how that feels. Like you're going a little quick, and then you see that cop car just a little too late, so you know you compulsively hit the brakes. You compulsively hit the brakes, and you gotta check your rearview mirror because you're hoping they don't move, and then they do, and they pull out of that parking spot, or they turn around after you, and they have the lights, and you're like, oh no. And my first thought always is, do I even have insurance and registration? Because you never care about it until that moment. And I remember the feeling, though, as the cop comes up to my window and says, ma'am, I'm going to give you a warning. And you're just like, oh, thank goodness. And that happened to me like 4 or 5 different times in a very short window where the cop says, I'm going to give you a warning. And the relief, and apparently it made me feel invincible because I thought somehow that means I'll never get a ticket. And then also, in the midst of all this happening, it was high school, there was a lot going on. I found myself driving home, and I was in my neighborhood, and I was with my sister. And my sister and I were kind of teasing each other, and so we started like racing home in my neighborhood. And so I started going a little quick. And of course, my dad is standing outside, and he watches this whole moment happen. So you know, you're like, not only are you busted, but you're definitely in for the dad lecture, which definitely hit all the points. Stacy, it's irresponsible. Stacy, you have to be careful. You're behind the wheel of a car. Your sister's in the vehicle. All of these moments had happened. Knew what it was to drive in Oro Valley, watched my parents. I had a class teaching me to slow down. I had gotten pulled over a lot of times with warnings, and they were clearly warnings I had completely ignored. Multiple warning signs I'd completely ignored, because then I found myself on Oracle passing a slow car, and I see the lights, except this time it's an Oro Valley motorcycle cop. And you know, you're snickering because you know you're not getting a warning. They don't do warnings. Like, you're definitely getting a ticket. And I got to find myself paying to give up my Saturday to sit for 6 or 8 hours in driving school. And even though I could look around and I could have said, how did I find myself here? Truth was, I absolutely knew. I had had so many warnings. I'd had so many opportunities to make different choices so that I didn't end up in driving school, and I had just chosen to ignore them. And I know we can look at that and be like, high schoolers and licenses, right? And that's one thing, but also, many of us have found ourselves in a situation where we might pause and look at what's going on and go, how did I end up here? Or even worse sometimes, how did I let this happen again? And we're tempted to ask that question, but the truth is, if we look back, there were a couple of warning signs. There were a couple of red flags. There were a couple of moments that we had ignored, or we had blown past, or we had just chosen not to see. So we end up in this situation. A part of us knows how we got here. It's that feeling, maybe you experienced it in school. It's that feeling where you go to open up your report card, and the truth is, you know the grades. You know what it's going to say, and you know it's not going to be good. But why do you know? There'd been warning signs. You had seen the assignments with the red ink on them. The teacher had pulled you aside and said, you need to do some work here. Your parents had said, bring up this grade or else. And yet still, you find yourself opening a report card, and here is you facing the or else moment. Or you find yourself at the end of a relationship. You're facing a breakup, and it's heartbreaking, but you also say, how did I let this happen? But you also know a little bit. If you looked back, you're like, oh, I know how I let this happen. I know every moment I was walking through, I knew he wasn't interested in commitment. I knew she wasn't over her ex. I kept walking by every single red flag, and rather than recognizing them as a warning, it's like I was collecting them, making my red flag bouquet. Like, I knew what that moment was going to be. In fact, sometimes we find ourselves saying, I can't believe I dated that guy again. Because it's not the first time we've found ourselves in this situation saying, how did I get here? But the truth is, we look back and this situation feels a little too familiar. Or we find ourselves looking at our bank account going, how did this number show up here? But truthfully, if we look back, there were people who warned us. We knew that we liked to do emotional spending. We knew we didn't need more of that thing. There had been red flags, there had been warning signs, and yet still we found ourselves saying, how did I let this happen? Or one that happens oftentimes is we find ourselves in that conversation that ultimately turns into an argument. It could be with our friend, with our parent, with our kid, with our significant other. And it's like we're watching this argument. We know where it's going to end, slamming doors or hurt feelings. And we go, how did I let this happen? But we go back and we knew we were making that comment. We knew in the midst of that conversation, we were saying that thing that would allow them to shut down. It would create the hurt feelings. It would cause the shut door. And yet still, even with warning signs happening in front of us, we can see their faces. We can see their body language. Even with the warning signs that we've been in this conversation before, we've made these comments before, we know where this is going to end up, we still find ourselves saying that word, saying those words. And we end up going, how did I let this happen again? How did I let it escalate to here again? And we find ourselves looking around saying, how did I let this happen? But the truth is, if we look back, there were moments. There were warning signs. There were things. Maybe there's even stuff we're familiar with because we've been there before and we'd ended up here before, and we think we let it happen again. Truth is, we're not the first people in history to have that moment. That is actually very much the pattern that we see in the book of Judges. And so today, to wrap up that story, we're going to look back at this pattern that we see the Israelite people live out in the book of Judges in the Bible, because I think that it gives us an opportunity to talk about something that can be really difficult, maybe even really vulnerable, but also incredibly, incredibly important. And that is for you and I, if we don't take the time when we find ourselves in a situation saying, how did I let this happen? Or how did I get here again? If we don't take the time to pause and look back, pause and learn from our history, then we are going to be destined to repeat it. That if we don't pause and take this second in some of these situations saying, how did I let this happen? How did I get here again? Look back and see, is there a lesson for me to have learned that maybe next time when I inevitably find myself needing to make a choice or facing a difficult moment, that maybe there's a lesson. And if I don't make a different choice, I'm going to find myself repeating this history over and over again, the way that the Israelite people in the book of Judges do. So that's what we're going to get to talk about today, is we're going to take a look at this pattern that we see the Israelites live out in the book of Judges. So what the book of Judges is it's a story of the Israelite people moving into the promised land and learning what it means to be a people, learning what it means to be set aside and to follow God, regardless of what they might see their neighbors or the other groups of people doing. And so God says, you don't need a king because I will be your king. That part of their story is going to come later. However, I will raise up some leaders. And that's what they called judges. Don't picture a robe and a gavel working in a legal system. Judges were the spokesperson for God. They would be raised up by God to lead the Israelite people in what it meant to follow God, what it meant to try and establish themselves as a nation and as a people group at this time. And so the judges, that's what this book tells us about. And so we're going to read from Judges 2, starting at verse 10. So it says that after a whole generation had been gathered to their ancestors, meaning there had been these leaders that had stepped in, some of them judges, as they stepped into the promised land. And after this generation has passed away, then another generation grew up who knew neither the Lord nor what he had done for Israel. And the Israelites began to do evil in the eyes of the Lord and serve the Baals. They forsook the Lord, the God of their ancestors, who had brought them out of Egypt. They followed and they worshipped various gods of the peoples around them, and they aroused the Lord's anger because they forsook him and they served Baal and the Ashtoreths. And so what we see is we see a group of people who once knew God. They once knew God. They once trusted God. They once followed God. God was once enough for them. But over time, with different leadership, they find themselves facing a difficult moment, facing something that feels uncertain, facing something that feels challenging. And suddenly they find themselves asking, I wonder if God's actually enough. And they find themselves looking around at some of the people around them and saying, what is it that they do? What are some of their practices, some of their customs, some of their laws? What are some of the ways that they live? And they find themselves making different choices that start this sort of cycle or pattern that we see the Israelites live out time and time and time again in the book of Judges, where they step out and they make these choices and they make these decisions, such as treating people differently than God asked them to, led them to, following different gods, following different customs. And they find these choices leading into some really harmful places, into places of oppression, into places where they look around and they think, I don't like this. This is not what God called us to. This is not who I'm meant to be. I don't like what this is. How did I let myself get here? And so they cry out to God. God, you said you'd be our God and we would be your people. God, will you show up and will you help us through this moment? And God's always there, and he reaches out a hand and he saves them and he delivers them and he sets them on a different ground. And for a moment, they trust God and they follow God. And then we see this pattern pick back up where something shows up and they're nervous and they're stressed and they're exhausted and they're anxious or they're scared about how it's going to turn out. And they suddenly find themselves making these different choices, following these different gods, these different laws, these different customs, even though they know where it's going to take them. And then they find themselves back in that moment saying, how did I let this happen again? How did we get here again? And crying out to God. And we see this pattern, we see this cycle lived out for the Israelite people all through the book of Judges. And I think it's worth mentioning that the author mentions Baal and Ashtoreth very specifically, I think. Because who these were is these are Canaanite gods. And the Canaanites were groups of people around the Israelites at this time that were often oppressing the Israelite people. And so this is the worship that they would have seen around them the most. And Baal was the Canaanite god of they say, rising and falling. And what we mean by that is spring and autumn. And he's also the god of rain and storm. And then Ashtoreth is one of the Canaanite goddesses, a goddess of fertility and love and children. And, as this people group at this time, as they're trying to establish themselves and trying to build and develop, there are two things that really determine their existence, their survival, and their success. And that would have been crops and children. Because at this time for history, food and crops are absolutely needed for, subsistence, for needing to eat. But it's also the thing that allowed a people group to stop being nomadic. If you were a people group who was constantly needing to move around to find your existence, to find food, to be okay, what crops and field and planting allowed you to do is stay in one place. You could actually grow and develop and establish yourself. You could be more than this moving tribe of people. You might even be able to turn into a village, into a town, into a known people group if you could stay in one place. So while crops were food, crops were also future development and growth and being able to build and turn into something. But children were also your workforce. If you wanted to build and grow, you needed someone to partner alongside of you, and that was your kids. Your kids showed up and they helped you work that land and take care of animals. Your kids were your legacy. Your kids took care of you as you got older and still took care of your land and your people. Your kids were your financial and your social stability and security. So you needed crops and you needed kids if you wanted to grow and develop into anything meaningful, which is everything the Israelite people were trying to do. So imagine for yourself. Imagine being one of these young groups of people and you're thinking, I want to stay and I want to stabilize and I want to grow. I want to become a nation and I want to get to build and have legacy and on this promised land. And so one of the things you have to do is you have to plant. And imagine what it feels like as spring shows up and every single seed you plant matters to you because it's your existence, it's your survival. At some point, you will find yourself fearful. Am I going to get enough sun, but not too much sun? Am I going to get enough rain, but not too much rain? And you will find yourself at some point stressed or scared or uncertain. And once upon a time, you knew to trust God. You had learned the lesson of what it was to trust God and let God anchor you, even when life felt so unstable and uncertain. But now you're looking at these crops and these fields, the very thing that lets you stay in one place and turn into a people group. And you find yourself a little less certain. You find yourself saying, I need to grab something to make me feel stable. What's the familiar thing? What's the thing that I see other people around me to grab hold of? What's the thing that I'm used to? And it just feels a little bit more tangible sometimes than faith and trust. And wouldn't you find yourself suddenly worshiping the Canaanite god Baal? Because at least it's something, and I pray for rain, and maybe this will let me be a people. Or you find yourself saying, I don't just want a kid, I need a kid. Except pregnancy has been difficult, or childbirth has been scary, or I see people around me having struggles. and our survival and our legacy and my care and who's going to work this land and how are we going to survive. And suddenly you find yourself facing those pressures or that instability, and you find yourself saying, what can I grab hold of? Maybe even worshiping the Canaanite goddess, because at least it's something. Maybe it will make a difference. Maybe this is the thing that I need to be able to establish myself and become a people group. Even if you knew that it's not going to take you anywhere good. The Israelite people knew. They know their cycle. They know, I'm going to make this choice and I'm going to step out and I'm going to worship this other God. I'm going to treat people this other way and I'm going to end up somewhere I don't want to be. Because truth is, sometimes that can be us. We can find ourselves in a moment where it feels uncertain or it feels scary or we feel stressed or tired. We just feel insecure about something and we say, I just need to grab hold of something that makes me feel stable, something to help me weather this. And the truth is, we have something that feels familiar. We have a pattern. We have a thing that we turn to. We have an action we turn to. We have a posture that we turn to because it feels familiar. It might be the thing we grew up seeing other people do, the way that we saw our parents respond to a situation. And so it's familiar. It's what we've seen. And so we grab hold of it, even if we're honest. We look back and we go, I know that's going to take me somewhere I don't want to go. The Israelite people face that. I know worshiping Baal and Ashtoreth is going to lead me somewhere I don't want to be, but right now, I'm just going to grab for something familiar. You and I might have patterns in our lives where we say, I know that this is going to take me somewhere that might be harmful, or I'm going to find myself looking around saying, how did I let this happen? But right now, I just need something to help me feel stable, to help me get through this moment. Because when we've got a history, there's a reason it starts to repeat itself. And if we don't learn from our histories, then we might be destined to just keep repeating it and find ourselves in situations like the Israelites saying, how did I let this happen again? And this is how Judges 2, verse 18 says, whenever the Lord would raise up a judge for the Israelite people, he was with that judge and he saved them out of the hands of their enemies as long as that judge lived. He's talking about this cycle that the Israelite people found themselves in. For the Lord relented because of their groaning under those who had oppressed and afflicted them. But when the judge died, the people would return to ways even more corrupt than those of their ancestors, following other gods, serving and worshiping them. They refused to give up their evil practices and their stubborn ways. They refused to learn a lesson and make a different choice and possibly experience a different type of outcome. Now, one thing, if you are familiar at all with the story of Judges in the Bible, I know that sometimes what's said is that the reason this is their cycle, the reason that the Israelite people keep finding themselves in this choices, destruction, harm, crying out, needing to be saved over and over and over, is because when they moved into the promised land, they did not fully remove the Canaanite people. They did not fully remove their customs, their laws, and their other gods. And that's why they keep finding themselves in this cycle. And I understand that. I understand that. But I also wonder if we see something a little bit deeper happening with the Israelite people, something that we honestly know even about ourselves. We could change all of our exterior circumstances. They could remove every Baal and Ashtoreth and every other law, and yet maybe they'd find themselves in a place that felt scary or they needed to make a choice. And if they haven't learned a lesson, if they haven't learned what it was to trust God or to grab something that actually offers stability in that moment, they're going to find something else to start that cycle all over again. Just like you and I would. We could change all of our circumstances. We could start a new job. We could start a new relationship. We could move somewhere. We could change our circumstances. But the truth is, if we haven't learned anything, we're just taking it into this moment with us. It feels like a matter of time until we look around and say, how did I let this happen again? You know, we actually see this happen time and time again in the pattern of the Israelite people. One small example, if you ever just want to look this up on your own, there is a judge in the book of Judges. If you ever look through chapters 4 and 5, her name is Deborah. She is a leader. She's actually a warrior. And she takes the Israelite people as their judge, and she actually leads them in what's essentially a holy war. She leads them in this war where they were outnumbered, they are outmatched in their weaponry, and still she leads the Israelite people into this crazy victory. There's this other side story about someone named Jael with a tent peg. If you ever want to read it, crazy stuff in the Bible. But there's this moment that happens with Deborah, and we see her do the very thing. She changes their circumstances. The Canaanites are gone. She handles business. She handles this war. It is taken care of. And we see the Israelite people experience 40 years of peace, we're told. She changed their circumstances, and we think here it is. New cycle. They're not going to do the same thing, except the very next verse. After we're told about 40 years of peace under Deborah, Judges 6, the beginning says, and then the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. But everything changed. But if the lesson is never learned, if it's never integrated, if we never realize and ask some questions, then we'll find ourselves standing there going, how did I let this happen again? I changed this, but we never learned our lesson. And the Israelite people show us the cycle of what happens, that if we never learn from our histories, then we're destined to repeat them. And so today, I want us to get to talk about this very challenging thing of what it means to get to learn from our history. And so one of the things that I think we have to talk about right off the bat, and it's going to sound really simple, but what I want to be very clear on is, even though it sounds simple, I don't think it is, and I haven't experienced it, despite being simple to say, to be easy to do. And that is, if we want to learn from our history in hopes of maybe making some different choices at some point, you and I will have to actually pause and look at our history. You and I will actually have to take the time to pause and reflect and face our history. When we find ourselves in a moment saying, how did I get here? Or how did I let this happen again? How am I here? At some point, we have to take that brave, courageous step to not just keep walking forward and hope for the best next time, but to actually allow ourselves to pause and look back and say, I think I know some of the warning signs. What if God has a lesson that he's wanting me to learn right now? And rather than moving on and pushing forward and avoiding and numbing and hoping for the best, what if I actually have a chance to look back and say, what are the warning signs I ignored? What did I go through? What did I feel, and why did I feel that? And sometimes that's really scary, because there's stuff back there that maybe, honestly, we're not super proud of. Sometimes there's warning signs that we ignored, that if we go back and we look at it, the reason we don't want to is because they make us feel a little dumb. Like, it feels like other people saw those red flags and we just kept going. And it's not the first time. Sometimes we see guilt. Sometimes it looks like anger in our past, but if we actually went back and we actually asked some questions, what it is it's hurt. It's actually fear. It's actually saying, I did not want to be my dad or my mom, or I didn't want to be this person, but it's all I've ever seen in my life. So when a moment shows up, it's the choice I always make. But we don't know that if we don't look back and actually let ourselves learn from our history. You know, this week, I found myself in a moment overhearing this conversation of a couple of guys that I know. And it's fun because they're these like big guys, like big weightlifting gym dudes, and they're standing around and they're talking. And one of these guys shares, he goes, my last 5 years of my life, he starts sharing a little bit of his journey. And he said, I retired from being a cop. I retired from the police force. And then I ended up gaining and subsequently losing a significant amount of weight. And so he's telling these guys around him about this part of his story, and he's showing a picture. And they're all just like, whoa, that's crazy. And so one of the guys said, I'm like, dude, how'd you do it? Like, how'd you lose the weight, right? Like, because they think there's going to be like a trick or something. And this guy goes, oh, I went to counseling. To which every guy, you could watch them physically be like, that is not what we expected you to say. We thought you'd like run more. Like, we did not expect that to be the thing. And then in the middle of this conversation, this man starts to share. He goes, when I retired from the force, I had some really, really bad PTSD. And he shares, I was just angry all the time. I was mean and I was angry and I would lash out, and I just realized I am miserable and I'm making everybody else miserable. And then he shares with these guys and he goes, I just had this moment of realizing if I keep going this way, I'm going to lose everyone and everything that matters to me, and I'm going to hate my life. And so for him, the right step was for him to go to counseling and actually get some help. He said, I'm going to actually learn what's going on inside of me. Why do I keep responding with anger? Why do I keep lashing out? Why do I keep hurting people? Why do I feel this way? What is happening with me that I can look back in my history and actually see it and actually deal with it? And I was blown away by this conversation. One, because that is so vulnerable. It is so brave and vulnerable and courageous to do that work of looking at your history, but much less to share it with people. Like, that guy was just being so real in that moment. But what I was fascinated by is one of the other guys in this conversation that I know a little bit. And he's this big dude, and he's a good guy, and he's a dad, and he works hard, and he's kind. And he goes, I love that for you, and I could never do that. He just said it point blank, I could never do that. He goes, that looks like way too much work. He actually said out loud, he goes, I am so scared if I were to just scratch the surface of my past, exactly what that would ask of me, where that would take me, what that would require of me. So love that for you. I'm not going to do that. Because he's actually doing what a lot of us wish we could. He knows there's stuff in his past. He's been in a moment and said, how did I let this happen? How did I get here? And instead of saying, I want to learn from my history, he goes, I know what I'll do. I will outrun it. I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. I'm going to leave that in the past. I'm going to box that up, and I'm going to numb, or I'm going to try to get away from it. I'm going to try to move faster. I'm going to change my circumstances. And yet all of a sudden, we find our past is still right there. We find in a moment of stress or of fear or of exhaustion or whatever it might be, suddenly that same pattern from our history that we never learned from, it didn't go away. We didn't run fast enough to make it go away. It's still right there, and we find ourselves repeating it over and over and over again. So what does it look like for you to not try to keep running away, but to actually take a second and say, okay, God, let's pause and look at it. What is my history? For you, it might be the very painful and difficult moment of looking back at some of your romantic relationships. It might be dating, it might be with your significant other, but there could be pain in that. One, just to look at an old relationship or to look at some hurts in your relationship can be really tough. Know that I see the bravery and the courage of that moment. But to then ask yourself, why do I keep ignoring that warning sign? I know it's there. Why do I keep ignoring that? Some of us, why do I keep being attracted to that warning sign? Why do I keep finding it again? Why do I keep responding this way when someone tries to get close? Why do I respond this way in the middle of an argument? Why can't we just have a difficult conversation? To look back at your history and ask some questions about those relationships, because I want to learn a lesson. What might God want me to learn that as I step forward, be it in the relationship you're in now, be it in the next time that you try to date, you say, what from this can I bring with me that maybe the next time that moment shows up, I get to make a different choice. I get to talk to them differently. I get to view myself differently. I get to trust God differently, that I might just find myself in a different outcome because I chose to learn from my history. Maybe for you, it is the place you moved away from. It's that family of origin. You moved away. You got out of, maybe it's your hometown, maybe it's out of your house. You found some distance and you're like, I've done some work. I'm a different person. Except then you go home. Then you go home for the holidays. Then you're on the phone with mom and dad. Then you're on the phone with your siblings. And it's like you're 16 all over again. And you're responding, and you're slamming doors, and you're still hurt, and you're still mad at them. Maybe there's history there that we need to actually pause and let ourselves think about and learn from and ask questions about. Maybe there's a lesson, even in our family, that God wants us to learn. Maybe waiting for our family to change so we can respond differently, it's not the circumstances. Maybe there's something about learning from our past that is the deep work for us to do, so that regardless of how a family member treats us, we get to make a different decision and maybe find ourselves not looking around saying, how did I get here? But actually saying, wow, I think I learned something when I did that very difficult work of looking back. Parents, you guys might know this best. Parents, we want to like our kids and we want them to like us. We want to have good relationships. We want them to trust us. We want them to feel safe with us. We want to know our kids as they become adults. And inevitably, you are going to find yourself in that conversation that you feel like you've had so many times. And you know what's going to happen is it's about a rule or it's about an argument, and your kid's going to explode, and then you're going to explode, and then they're going to run to your room, and you are going to be exhausted saying, how did I let this happen again? Or next week it's going to happen again. Next month, the same conversation's going to show up, the same phone call, the same text, the same interaction. But you don't want that. What if it's not push forward and hope for better, be more assertive, hold the rule stronger, let the rule go? What if it's something about looking back from our history and saying, okay, God, is there something for me as a parent, as a mom, as a dad, as someone who loves this kid and wants to show up for this kid? Is there something here that you want me to learn, that maybe the next time this argument shows up, I actually get to have a different posture in this moment? For some of us, if we're honest, it's not necessarily a relationship decision. We actually have something that we like to go to. We have our own cycle that when life feels a little stressful or a little scary, just that uncertainty, when it feels just like everything's shaking around, we have something that we like to go to distract us. We have something that we know numbs us. We have something that feels familiar to grab hold of. It could be to reach out for a person. We just don't want to be alone. It could be shopping. It could be anger. It could be a substance. We have something that when life starts to feel a little tough, it's our go-to and it's what we're familiar with. But much like the Israelite people, just because it's familiar or it's what we might have seen lived out in front of us, we know it's not taking us somewhere we want to be. We know from experience, reaching for that and hoping it will provide stability, it might for a moment, but inevitably it takes us somewhere or it creates a harm. And we don't want that. We don't want to keep living in that. We don't want to keep finding ourselves saying, how did I let this happen again? Because there were warning signs and there were decisions and there were choices. And what if we have the opportunity to look back and say, okay, God, what lesson do you want me to learn from this? And not just run from our past, but actually give ourselves permission to pause, to be brave and courageous and look back and ask some questions. And know this, if you ever make this decision, it's not easy. It sounds obvious, but it's not easy. And it's not necessarily something that